Formula One moves away from Saudi Arabia and across the globe. We're in Melbourne, Australia. It's a great place for a race. 1996 was the first ever time we ventured here. Now the venue is back and it's a fan favourite. The first of 3 night races then here for UK and Europe, and it starts in Australia before moving on to Japan and then China. Miami takes us back to a normal-ish time zone before Emilia-Romagna is the first European race of the season at round 7. Monaco in Canada round out with June, followed by Spain and Austria. Great Britain is the halfway stage of the year in July, with Hungary and Belgium taking us to the summer break. August only sees the Netherlands, but it's back-to-back with Italy a week later. Then finishing off September with Azerbaijan and Singapore. October has United States at the Circuit of the Americas, Mexico and Sao Paulo. Then we have November with Vegas. And then December ends, of course, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi rounds out the season. After 2 races, Max Verstappen is on maximum points. He's on 51 after scoring 26 in Bahrain and 25 in Saudi Arabia. Sergio Perez on 1-2, but also with the fastest lap in Saudi Arabia, puts him on 36. Charles Leclerc is third on 28, 10 behind is George Russell on 18. Oscar Piastri has 16. Carlos Sainz with appendicitis last time out, still only 15 points from his podium back in Bahrain. Alonso and Norris level on 12. Lewis Hamilton has 9. But Ollie Behrman, after his debut in Saudi Arabia, he has 6 points. On the second page, Nico Hülkenberg and Lance Stroll are the last point scorers. Albon, Zhou, Magnussen, Ricciardo, Ocon, Tsunoda, Sargent, Bottas and Gasly still yet to score in 2024. In the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull lead the way on 87 points to Ferrari on 49. McLaren have moved 2 ahead of Mercedes into third, with Mercedes on 26 points. In fourth, Aston Martin have 13. Haas are the last point scorers with 1. Williams, Sauber, RB and Alpine still yet to score. Let's take a look. The Albert Park Street Circuit here in Melbourne, Australia. A 3.279 mile circuit, down to 14 turns and 3 DRS zones as well. It's a fast circuit since its modifications, and it's a fan favourite. Start with a DRS run down towards turn number 1. Keep hard 8th gear flat out before you drop down 3 gears. Flick the car in towards the right, sharp left at 2. Careful not to get too many wheels at the exit because the car spins up and wants to hit you out of it. Another DRS on the run down to turn 3, down into 3rd gear. Hug the inside line. It's a wider exit here. You sometimes can go too wide. Still tight through the chicane section as well. Coming through the car park lot. Flat out through 6 and 7. Now down to turn 8. It's a lot closer towards the wall, so you can carry a lot more speed in, get the power down early. And now you come through the new turn 9 and 10 section as well. Completely opened up, no more chicane. It's a DRS run as well before you into 11 and 12. Flick the car, just drop down from 8th, down into 7th gear, then down to 6th mid-corner. So down 7, flick the car in, down 6, back on the power, DRS open, gravel at the exit is an absolute nightmare if you get it wrong. Now they've reprofiled the exit here of turn 12 as well, down to 3rd gear, flick the car in a 90 degrees of L-shaped corner before you flop up again into 5th gear, back on the power. Penultimate corner used to be a pain, slightly less, but it's hard to get the entry right. The rear wants to step out. Full power through the exit, the last corner, DRS open, hurtle towards the line, keep the car to the left-hand side of the track, and that is a lap of Albert Park, Melbourne. Hello everybody, welcome to Free Practice 2 for the Australian Grand Prix here at the Albert Park Circuit in Melbourne. Now, if you joined us for free practice 1, you might remember us talking about Alexander Albon and the contact he had coming into turns 8 and damaging the front left and rear left of the car. Sadly, the news coming in is that he will take absolutely no part in this second practice session. The team focusing to get it ready for Saturday with practice 3 and qualifying, meaning that he'll lose his race running. So expect to see Logan Sargent out doing a longer run. Now, we've sent the team to bed as well. Josh T won't be with us for this session. Omi's going to be hanging around in the backgrounds when he gets in as well. We'll hear a little bit from him, but we've sent the team to bed because I'm going to be up all the time. And I'll be covering the MotoGP. I'll get about 3 hours sleep after this and the F2 qualifying session. So it sort of swings and roundabouts how we're going to take it. But that means that everyone's refreshed going into tomorrow and the main action where the races start. So we sort of sacrifice the practice and get a session. So I'll be fielding all your questions on YouTube and Twitch chats. And I'll be sat in my chair commentating on the session with you at home as well. I can't wait for the next hour. It's going to be a very interesting session, very crucial session as well to get going. Yellow flags are currently out there on the circuit though. They're just doing some last minute tidying up. In the gap between this, we've had a Porsche session and then a supercars race, I believe. So they've just been making sure everything is A-OK and set up to go. And now we're in the procedure where we can get this second practice session underway for the F1 Australian Grand Prix. Practice 1 was topped by Lando Norris as well, with Verstappen second and Russell in third. But it's time to get ready, so I'll hand over to Natalie, who's going to talk us through the times through any weekend.
Welcome back. We are just moments away from the second practice session from Australia. Here are the timings. Got the F1 show following this practice session at 7:15. Saturday, 1:10 for practice 3 and quali from 4:15. Sunday, we have a race start at 4 a.m. and we're on air at 3 o'clock in the morning. Now, you can get on board for every session with any of the drivers. Only 19 in this session because Alex Albon won't be taking part. And you can hear their team radio. If you're a Sky Glass, Sky Q, Sky Stream or Now TV customer, you can access this by pressing the interactive button on your remote control or download the Sky Sports app to your phone or tablet. Log in with your Sky ID and head to the Sky Sports F1 channel to select your driver. OK, let's head up to commentary and David Croft.
It's the Australian Grand Prix here at Albert Park in Melbourne. A great place for the race. That's what Ron Walker said when he pitched it and got Australia's Grand Prix moved from Adelaide to Melbourne. Well, the circuit's gone through a few modifications over the years, but it's still the same old track that everyone's fallen in love with. It's a 5.278 kilometre, 3.279 mile circuit, 4 DRS zones, 1 down the main straight, 1 on the run to turn 3, 1 on the run to turn 9, and 1 on the run down to turn 11. It's a 14-turn circuit in total, and with the fast nature of the circuit now, Pirelli have bought the softest tyres available. It's the white hard C3, the medium C4, and the red soft C5, medium of course in the yellow. Looks absolutely fantastic. My voice already starting to go ahead of this second session. It's been that type of day. As I'll have a little sip ready to go. And we're all set. It will be a 58-lap Australian Grand Prix, and we'll see what happens when we get going. And fingers crossed, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, at the moment, we now know Alexander Albon will not be taking any part in this session. Williams are keeping it completely a sort of no-go area for the remainder, which, I don't know, it is a shame, but it kind of makes sense that they want to prioritise getting the car ready for practice 3 and qualifying tomorrow. They don't want to have a situation where they go out and something's wrong and it takes longer for it to work out, longer for it to break. SHT says Sargent has to keep his car clean for this whole session. They've got another car in Sargent. They'll get the data, but Albon will miss out on it himself. That's the key factor that you've got to remember. And everyone's going to be playing a factor in on that as well. Track temperature, that is at 37.2 degrees. Air temperature at 20.1, so it's moving around ever so nicely, which is the best situation. As we're just getting everything sorted with this new graphic that we've got, because we've swapping between the two cameras out here in the comms box as well. So I always like to just make sure that the new toys work between the two cameras as well. Williams are there, and we'll hear quickly from David Croft and Karun Chanok.
Because you saw some drivers losing it on the way in at the left-hander of turn 9. In fact, I'd say most of them were struggling over there, whereas some, like Fernando Alonso, just understeered wide on the second part. Alex Albon looking on. This is a replay, I guess, of a few minutes ago, just keeping an eye, somewhat forlornly, Crofty, isn't he, of his mechanics, and he's struggling keep it going.
He's struggling a bit as well, to be fair. Obviously, we're not in the middle of winter here in Australia. He's got a touch of hay fever, to be honest, and was struggling a bit even before he got in the car. I
sympathise with that. I really struggle. I remember going to Le Mans, and that was where it was always at its worst. And it was sort of an annual competition between Alex Wirtz, Lucas Di Grassi, and myself to see who had the worst hay fever and the most eye-watering situation, basically.
No, I can solve that. That's me. I go 24/7, even when I'm not in the commentary box. When I am in the commentary box, I think 110% I've got you covered on that front as well. Yeah, it's been a night, hasn't it, for differences of opinions and everything. So fingers crossed we're going to be in for an interesting session, and no one's going to be running too much of a mistake. So yeah, here we go then. The next session is about to gear up. Just want to get that right in terms of picture quality there at the moment, so you can still see me on the screen. Green light is on. We're underway. Yeah, and out go the cars. Bottas is heading out there. Perez, Hülkenberg. Green light. We are underway here in Australia, Albert Park, Melbourne, for the second practice session. A very crucial hour ahead of us then. I want to get all your inputs as well. Wherever you're watching from around the world, we've got the Twitch chat open, we've got the YouTube chat open. Get in touch with us. We want to know where you're watching and how you've been battling the first night race of the year, depending on your time zone. And what do you think of it all? Ted?
Crofty, yes, well, I'm down at Red Bull Racing. And is it really the shortest pit lane in Formula One? It does feel very short, but I've never actually known that yours. So that's one of the many catalogue of interesting facts you have. Do you know what the second shortest is? I'll have a think about it. Maybe Monaco. Anyway, I can tell you...
281 metres, Ted. 281 metres. That's how short it is.
What, here or Monaco? I'll leave you to tell you about that. While I tell you about second shortest, I'm interested. Right, Max Verstappen's car. So it seems that he did indeed break the floor when he thought he might have, having run over a curb in free practice 1. And take a look at this. This is the new floor coming into the garage, and the mechanics were being very careful about how they held the new floor so that we couldn't see the lovely 3D shapes, the channels underneath the bottom of that floor, which has given a clue as to how they find so much downforce. They were very careful to actually put that flat on the ground before they put it on. But what it means is that they're A, one floor down for the rest of the weekend, and B, it's going to be at least another 5-10 minutes before Max Verstappen gets out again. The whole right-hand side of the car, as I'm looking at it, the engine covers are still off. So we're getting a look as to how beautifully packaged, shrink-wrapped package that bodywork is around those radiators. That's new, all new for this year. And no Max Verstappen at the moment. So, yeah, he'll be missing a bit of time in this session.
So
I'll go and see what else I can find.
What I want to know is, what does your Alex Albon app say? Because, you know, yesterday you and Alex were having quite a few bants about his app and how yours was out of date. Is it up to date, yeah?
Yeah. I have updated it, Karoon. Yes.
Is it up to date?
Some data. Oh, is it up to date? Well, I don't know about that, but while I was doing the research on exactly what was wrong with Alex's car and the rebuild, the team representative I spoke to said something that's got my suspicions up. They've said we will put out some more updates later in the day. And I don't know what they meant about that, because all that we know at the moment is that they couldn't fix the car for free practice 2 for this session. So what more updates do they have to put up? I'm going to have a look, Karoon, as to whether the tub is damaged.
I was going to say.
And if it is, are we absolutely sure that they have a spare tub here? I would imagine they do. They must do. They wouldn't come here without a spare tub, would they?
Hopefully you're going to have the answer there, because I think we're seeing some information from some other people in the paddock saying that they may not have a spare tub. So you're going to have to go digging, Ted. Look for the boxes on the back of the motorhomes. That's normally where they're hiding, isn't it? Spare parts.
That's the suggestion I've had also.
No tub. Interesting.
I just can't believe it, really. I mean, I know Williams have had issues in getting 2 cars ready for the start of the season, but that was a month ago. So if Albon has damaged the tub and there isn't a spare, then he's not going to be able to take part in the rest of the weekend.
That's
and
true.
That would be the biggest shock of the couple of days here so far. But anyway, that's only conjecture on our part. I'll look into it, Karoon. But I've heard those rumours too. But I can't believe they don't have a spare tub here.
Hamilton, Hülkenberg, Bottas and Perez are all sort of congealed together down at turn 9 and 10. So does Alexander Albon not have another tub? So we're waiting now. Okay, so, well, join us at practice 3 tomorrow, and even the F2 and F3 sprint races, because we'll be able to tell you exactly what's going on at the moment. Medium tyre is the choice. Everyone who has come out is sporting the yellow marked medium tyre at the moment, with 6 drivers yet to head out in the session. That is Verstappen, Norris, Albon, Sainz and Russell. Piastri was one of them, but he's now come out. Leclerc's come out as well on mediums. Everyone out there on medium compound tyre. SHT says Sargent has to keep his car clean for the whole session. And do you remember the crazy moments in the history of the F1 Australian Grand Prix in Melbourne, despite the drama for the final red flag last year? Vettel, Kubica collision in 2009. I remember them all. Martin Brundle up the back of David Coulthard and Johnny Herbert into the gravel trap in 1996. 97, John Alesi running out of fuel. David Coulthard taking the win. ITB's first race that was, of course, back then. 1998, David Coulthard and Mika Häkkinen. The planned move down the start-finish straight. 99, Häkkinen and Coulthard retiring. Häkkinen lifting off Irvine, going through and taking the win in a crazy 1999 race. 2000, I think it was a calm race, actually, for Australia. 2001, Villeneuve going over the back of Ralf Schumacher, as Leclerc's going to get traffic here from Alonso. And one of the RBs, can't see who it was, for Ricardo, as he comes out towards the line. What's this time then from Charles Leclerc? It's Alonso with a 1:19.412, and Leclerc goes second with a 1:19.526 across that board as well. But yeah, then 2002, well, that crazy race. Barrichello over the back of Ralf Schumacher at turn 1. As we see Hamilton, again, snapping through turn 1 and 2 and lifting off, coming through mid-corners. Hamilton again struggling through that first corner. He went off there this morning in practice 1 and ran over the curb a little bit too much. Yeah, further on, 2002, truly spinning off. You know, the first corner, mayhem with everyone being retiring. Coulthard running off under the full safety car. And then I think Montoya versus Schumacher. Schumacher going on to win the race in the Ferrari from 2001, mind. As after that, 2003, another crazy race in 03. Barrichello, Furman dropping it. Coulthard coming through to take victory as well. Schumacher dropping, Montoya dropping it as well. 2004, Schumacher dominated. 2005, Fischer-Keller won. 06 wasn't the season opener. Button blowing up on the last lap. Alonso taking the win. 2007, Raikkonen winning from Alonso and Hamilton. And Hamilton, that famous move around the outside at turn 1. 2008, Glock's crash. Hamilton dominating, taking the win. 2009, Brawn domination on 1-2 on debut. Double diffuser row. BBC making their first race as well. 2010, the second race of the year. After Bahrain, we came here. And the rain played a factor. It completely energized the race. Kobayashi, Buemi, and I think Heidfeld being contacted at turn 7. Going into there as well, we had Hamilton running to the back of Webber out of the race. Vettel having a brake failure. And I think that day, who came over to win? Jenson Button, the dry tyres in wet conditions race. 2011, Martin Brundle leading the commentary. Nice, smooth race. First race in HD for Formula 1, of course, that one. And Sebastian Vettel easily taking the race win. 2012, as you say, Maldonado throwing away big points Williams, but also Sky F1's first race. The step noses, Button winning in Australia again, and McLaren seemed to be in the right direction for the first few races. 2013, the rain came on Saturday. Qualifying had to be done on a Sunday, and Mark Webber starting on pole position. Vettel taking the race win. No, Kimi Raikkonen taking the race win for Lotus. Dramatic way to start the year after a busy race. 2014, first race of the V6's turbo hybrid engines. Ricciardo jumps up to 4th on and then Piastri goes 3rd. So Australia rejoice with a 3-4 at the moment. Not bad at all. Norris goes 2nd, 118.976. Yeah, 2014, as you say, Kobayashi and Massa into turn 1. Hamilton retiring on lap 5. Rosberg taking the first win of the modern era. 2015 seemed to be an okay race, if I remember correctly. 2015, it was quite normal, to be fair. I think it was Rosberg again winning. Or did Hamilton win? Hamilton won the opener that year. Lots of DNFs in 2015, yeah, right. 2015, the year that nobody wanted to race. I think we had like 7 retirements due to engine failures. It was a really strange year, that one. 2016, have no fear, Haas F1 are here, unless you're Fernando Alonso. Gutierrez cutting him off. Up went Alonso, barrel rolled into the gravel. Red flag came out as well. 2017, a statement of intent. Mercedes having a battle with Ferrari. And the first race of the shark fins, the new wider cars, as Charles Leclerc run over a little bit. Ted's got news.
Crash, what more do you have, Crofty?
Just that there is no spare chassis available
for Williams
here this weekend. I've just asked the next question. Do you need a spare chassis? And I'll let you know what comes back to me on that one. But that's
radio.
Not great.
Yeah, so all they can do really is to...
let's get a dark fear off, please.
Ted.
Ted, I need to give you 5 seconds for the delay on that one. Apologies.
Right. Sorry, Crofty. So yeah, all they can do is assess, and that's the language, that's the word they've been using, is assess the damage to the chassis and to see whether there is a fix that they can actually do that. You know, make sure, and obviously if it's a big thing like it's torn out some of the metal pieces and there's too big a work to be done. Maybe it's the engine mounting points or the gearbox mounting points, or it's just too difficult, then it's just not possible. But if it is possible, one thing you can be sure of this Williams team is that they have the expertise, they have the motivation, and they have the will to fix it if they can. But I don't think there's any hope, I don't think there's any expectation or realistic prospect of them taking Sargent's car away from him. I know what you're saying, Karun, but I just don't think that's the way they go racing. I'm not sure that's the way that James Vowles would do it. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but we'll keep across that.
No, okay, that they would not take another driver's car. If Albon's damaged his, they wouldn't take Sargent out of the race. That's a silly procedure. 2018, all of the Haas wheelgun problems, both Magnussen and Grosjean, yep, and the safety cars that came into that. And Sebastian Vettel, I believe, taking the victory that day. The first one in the Halo. Or was that 17 that Vettel won? One of the two. I think it was doubled, actually, wasn't it? 2019, Martin Brundle is trackside for us. Martin.
Up at turn 2, really, in some respects. We found a nice aerial spot to look down on the track. And look at this sort of theatre we've got here, this natural stadium almost down at turns 1 and 2. So many people here already on Friday. Fantastic to see. And that's in many ways because we've got Formula 2, Formula 3, the Aussie V8s, we've got the supercars, we've got Porsche 911 Super Cup as well, and of course then 2 Formula 1 practice sessions. So great entertainment for everybody. It looks wonderful. It reminds me actually that it's very windy out here because this edifice that we're on rocks around a little bit. You can sort of see from the trees over there, and you've got the cityscape and the lake behind us. As a driver, you never have any idea whatsoever that you're going all the way around a lake, basically. You just never see it. But of course you do.
Double yellow at sector 17, Tsunoda.
Spun in
yeah, it's Sargent. It's Sargent.
On one of the many diamond screens. Yeah, okay. Okay, well, that's a chassis. By the way, my point of view on that is it's an absolute no-brainer. If you're only running one car, you'd put Alex Albon in it.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, let's hope they don't need that. So what have we got down here then? The famous turn 1, where we've seen so many crashes on the starts over the years. You can see the beautifully manicured
Sargent's just spun it as well.
Cars going across it, as has the gravel trap, through the heart of the corner. Once they get the car turned in, they accelerate hard because they can sweep up against the wall. We wait for somebody to come through. Unquestionably the most difficult car to drive through here that I've seen so far. Both the Mercedes-Benz are really struggling here. When they put the throttle on, they're really moving around the back end of the car, complaining hard. As we see Oscar Piastri now coming through there. It's quite a slow lap, actually. Well, they head off, and you've got a never-ending curve then down to the tricky turn 3. Here comes the Mercedes of George Russell again on a slow lap, unfortunately. We're waiting to see something come through quickly, but they really accelerate hard. The cars sound fabulous as they head off down towards turn 3. But the Ferrari looks solid. The Red Bull looks very solid. Here's the Ferrari now, Charles Leclerc. He actually had to have quite a big correction on the outside of 2 here as the car started to get away. This is where we saw the big shunt last year on the restart, the final restart, where the 2 Alpines got into each other up against the wall there. Do you know what? This section is absolutely fine and relatively straightforward until it's not. And then you're so close to the wall. You're so close to the danger, the accident, the point of contact. And before you know it, you make one little counter steer, bang, you're in the wall and done. So they're really working hard. It's an important part of the lap to get your lap underway well, particularly in qualifying. But a natural stadium, as I said, suddenly gone very quiet, and I'll move to another part of the racetrack.
Thank you, Martin. This is Logan Sargent once again. This is coming into turn 11, hits the new part 90-degree L shape I was talking about in the pre-show, lost the rear and spins it round and nearly throws it into the barrier. To be fair, it's quite... Here's what he said on the radio.
Touch the gravel.
Yeah, okay, we'll check the car.
Yeah, and they haven't got a spare chassis. We're understanding 100% Williams do not have a spare chassis. So if Albon has damaged that chassis, who do you give it to? The guy who crashed or the guy who does crash? That's a tough one for James Vowles. I wouldn't like to be here this afternoon, I can tell you. Charles Leclerc's fastest of all second sector with a 33.319. No, second sector is a Claire sector 17 after being track surface slippery. Leclerc goes fast at 1:17.936. Remarkable opening gambit time for him. Max Verstappen, absent so far from the session for 17 minutes. He's getting ready to venture into the car, and he will make his appearance in this second practice session. Albon will not. So it's Leclerc, Norris, Sainz, Perez, Russell, Alonso, Hamilton, Gasly, Stroll, Piastri. The top 10 from Ocon, Sargent, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Magnussen, Bottas, Zhou, Hülkenberg, Verstappen and Albon. That's the situation currently at play. Just getting the phone ready so we can take a look at some onboard cameras later on into this session. Now let's take another replay. This is Pierre Gasly coming through turns 5 and exit 6. Oh, getting on the curve and scraping the underfloor as well. Now, in days gone by, there used to be a runoff area. Exit turn 5 into 6, and now they've brought that wall forward to give the fans a bit more protection. So you hit the wall there, you're pretty much out of it. And I don't really like that because I liked the runoff area. That's where Kubica went off, and Barrichello and Furman, all them went off in days gone by. Let's go back quickly to the Australia factors, the points that we were talking about. 2019, Ricciardo went over the curb and the drain cover, ripped off the front wing at the race start and was out of the race. To whom it may concern, from Valtteri in 2019 as well. And then, of course, 2020, the race that never was. We all came here ready to get going. COVID shut us down because some of the McLaren mechanics got it. And then Formula 1 went on hiatus until Austria. So, medium compounds are the business here at the moment. Leclerc, Norris and Sainz are 1-2-3 in the opening 20 minutes of the second practice session for the Australian Grand Prix here at Melbourne. Alonso down then into turn 3, brakes on the turns it in, up into around 100 kilometers an hour. 2021, we didn't race here. 22, we came back. New modified circuit, close racing. And it was a really good race, actually. I enjoyed 2022 a lot. And then 2023 was just absolutely insanity. Just couldn't be lived up to, could it, like last year's race. 24, though. This year's going to be a good one. Both Aston Martins are now out on the softs. Yeah, we're seeing Alonso now 2,000ths off the pace. In fact, if we take a look at the graphic here, out on softs is Perez, Alonso and Stroll. So both Astons and Perez out there on the soft tyres. And Alonso down in sector 2, but Ocon's actually got the fastest second sector, if that's correct. It's not. Can't actually tell who's got that fastest sector time at the moment on the deltas. Alonso goes second, 1:18.127. Note for tomorrow: bring more drink, go to bed, get other commentators, me not do all. And Alonso into turn 7 and 8, turns in, and I thought he nearly touched the wall. He rode that bump that Albon and Verstappen did this morning. If you didn't join us through practice 1, there's a nasty bump exit at turn 7, and Alonso got lifted up on it as well. And it happened to Verstappen this morning, and he damaged his floor. Interesting session then, loading up here. Leclerc 1:17.936, and Alonso from Norris, Sainz, Perez in there as well, all in the mix of things now. 20 minutes in to this second practice session. Very crucial practice session as well, I might like to add to the points. And we have got the ability to go on board with anybody and take a look what they are doing. It's just taking a little bit of a time to get it sorted. So it will be multi-screen I need to select and have that on. It's all being controlled via the phone at the moment. There we go. Stroll goes P9. Oh, it's a bit glitchy. Yeah, still 80. There we go. It's stabilised now. Now let's take a look at Lance Stroll. What's he done? Coming into the back half. This is turn 13 and 14. Turns in. Oh, loses the rear. Gets on the grass. Nearly spins the entire car around. Why Lance has a seat in Formula 1, I don't know. When Felipe Djokovic is sitting in the background. Here's the radio.
Last corner.
Yeah, no drama, mate.
All messed up the last corner. No drama, mate. Yeah. Oh, and a Magpie nearly getting it. Well, it's 1 for sorrow. 2 for joy, 3 for a boy, 4 for a girl, and 5 for a secret never to be told, if I'm not correct. If I'm not very much mistaken. 2022, Albon's insane, super long, one stop, yeah, 57 laps on one set of tyres. Feel for his race engineer, Ben Mitchell, yeah. Okay, Stroll's is coming to turn 9, so it's 18 seconds back. Stroll's on a slow lap, coming into it. And Max Verstappen looks like he's going to venture out onto the track for the first time. As Alonso throws it around the track, didn't jump over the curb this time, coming through turn 8. Kept it together nicely. I'm watching him in the second screen at the moment. In fact, let me stand up so I can actually get a picture of it all correctly. And Max Verstappen exits onto the track. The world champion that comes out, and so does one of the Hasses as well, so they all get some new procedures. Looking good though, isn't it, as Max comes out. It's a fingers crossed event, isn't it, that he will be either good or bad, isn't it? It's one of the two. We want a competition, but we want a fair fight at the same time. It's an odd parallel as Alonso does a 1:17.912 and goes fastest overall here in Melbourne, Australia. A lot of time deltas are getting faster and faster as Sky coming back from their break. Stroll, Alonso, Piastri, Ricciardo, Zhou, Sargent, Bottas all getting into the mix of things as well. Desperately do need a drink, actually, so this is the problem when you're sole commentator. It's a difficult situation to get in as well, and also then you've got to run in and get a glass. But I have got a bottle here that has some water in it, and it looks to be alright. Hang on. Ooh, not great, that one. Let's have a radio. What's the radio?
That Ferrari is going dangerously slow on the straight. Sainz, blind corner.
Sainz doing Sainz things with him, isn't he? Yeah, he's been used to having blocks up. And this is Lance Stroll having a spin. Crofty?
When he passed by. This is Lance Stroll getting it all wrong at turn 13 on his first flying lap on the soft compound tyre.
Yeah, messed up the last corner.
Yeah, no drama, mate.
It's no drama because he's now gone fastest overall with a 1:17.8, 900ths ahead of his teammate Fernando Alonso. Oscar Piastri has just done his first flying lap, 2.5 tenths off the pace. Seems to me, Karun, that these tyres are holding on, so you can do another flying lap, fuel's burned down, and go that much faster as Sargent goes 9th fastest and Verstappen on the medium tyres on his first flying lap of the session.
Yeah, as you were saying, Crofty, at the beginning of the session, this isn't a track that's particularly hard on tyres anymore because they've gotten rid of that turn 9 and 10. You've got so much of the track where you're going basically in a straight line. It's not a high-energy circuit in terms of load. As Verstappen...
Oh, Max locks up on the brakes as well and just loses out down at... turns 13 and 14, just had a little bit of a moment, locked up a bit too much, and it put him 19, so it cost him a lot of time there. 1:17.822 from Stroll, which happened at 1:19.848. Small lockup costs a fortune in this game, and that's exactly what we're seeing. As everyone watching on GP, not happy with that. Let's have a look then from Esteban Ocon. Through turn 5 and 6 watching now. In the Alpine, Verstappen and Gasly, Hulkenberg and Magnussen together on the back half of the track. Medium compound tyres as well for Esteban. As he'll continue to charge through. Let's see where he gets to. Is he what's happening with Kevin Magnussen? This is coming into 9 and 10 as well. Turns into 9, flicks in, 2 gears down, back on the power, misses the apex, went over the curb, gets in the grass, gets in the gravel. And yeah, dirties the tyres and brings that onto the track. It's such an easy run. This track has become a lot more challenging since the modifications, and I love that fact because now it's proper Formula One. It's proper do or don't. Let's have a look. Boss says, wow, Aston Martin fastest. They are indeed. They've done soft tyre runs and they are 1-2, 117.82. Alonso a 117.912. That's the gap at the moment. Less than a tenth separate the two. That's intervals you're seeing on your screen. We'll have the gap come on during the race. Oh no, all the way around. Perez out of the last corner. Boots it hard. What's the time from Checo? Fifth fastest, 118.090. Alonso's P2. And in sector 2 he was down. And he's still fighting for control. Coming through turn 11, through 12 and 13. Drops it down a couple of gears. Yeah, Alonso's fighting that car a little bit actually, but it's looking stick. Tyres already beginning to wear. He's been on them for 6 laps at the moment, according to my timing screen. 4 DRS zones, practically always open. Every time the car's straight, there's a DRS zone. And Alonso and Stroll are pretty much even through the speed traps. That's why there's only 90 thousandths of a second between them, 9 hundredths of a second. It's only practice, by the way. Aston Martin have better quality pace this season, but race pace and high fuel is their struggle at the moment. They need to fix on that. We'll be surprised if Alonso makes his announcement his birthday week as well about his plans for next year. He'll be in Mercedes. Oh, and Russell won't be in that Mercedes for much longer if he keeps twitching through turn 1 like that. Exactly like Lewis Hamilton. Slide on entry and then straight through the gravel. The car bouncing and nearly taking off its front wing as well. Ooh, haven't slept. Briefest of yellow. Down at turn 11 again. It's gone back to green. Now, who's down there? Strong ones. Oh, everyone's down there at turn 11. Probably why there's a yellow. Everyone's going slow. It's triggered it. Automatically come through on the systems. Here's Lando into turn 6. Flicks the car in. That's a better exit. Ooh, a little bit of a bounce across it as it comes through 8. And down through 9 and 10. The long sweeping section that's flat out. I love this part now. The old chicane sort of style was fun and the corner, but this is much better. A proper flat out run, perfect. Norris clears Ocon. And he's got Hamilton and Ricciardo just ahead of him on the driver tracker. 30 minutes gone, 30 minutes to go. Oh, it's right in the braking zone as well for Hamilton to get out of the way. Leclerc's up in that first sector as well by a tenth. 26.687. Norris crosses the line and stays 6th. Doesn't improve, but Leclerc might and probably will improve. Down by a tenth and a half. We'll put 129 down in the second sector. Verstappen goes 8th, 118.320. Sainz is 2 tenths down as they continue on the attack into the penultimate corners. So Leclerc, will he have a gambit time to wait on? Across the line he comes, and Charles Leclerc from 3rd fastest. Does he move into the 2 Aston Martin times? Yes, by 4 tenths of a second he's fastest, a 117.423. Sainz and Russell coming to the party. Sainz, 4th, 117.966. Russell and Hamilton now will also be coming up towards the line and see what they get.
Into the apex of a slow speed corner, much better than anybody else. And when you look at the issues people have at the penultimate one, that's something I think they'll have an advantage of, where we see Russell going 4th now.
Yeah, well, he kept it on the road that time. Very good lap from George Russell. It's an even bigger advantage for Ferrari to be that strong or stronger as we see Max Verstappen down towards turn 3. Got a car ahead of him. Which I think might have been Valtteri Bottas. No, it wasn't. It was his teammate, Joe Guan Yu. Couldn't quite see the colour of the T-cam from on board.
Yeah, I'm too late, bro.
There you go. Before you go thinking it was Joe Guan Yu's fault, he just wasn't given the information as early as he needed to. Now, back to Ferrari and Charles Leclerc, Karun. If you are that strong in the final sector, at a part of the qualifying lap where your tyres are screaming for life and are losing a bit of performance anyway, if your car has that advantage, that negates some of the tyre life lost, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, I think they're in good shape so far. You have to say, every time Leclerc's been out on track, the cars look good, and it's he's carried a lot of confidence into this weekend straight away. It bodes well for qualifying. We know he's a good qualifier, so we'll see. Hamilton, by the way, Croffy, I've been watching his run. He had a poor first sector, okay middle sector, and then bailed out of the lap, ended up doing a 1:31. He's now doing a slow lap, so perhaps recharging the batteries before they go again.
Yuki Tsunoda almost dipping a tyre into the gravel. Max Verstappen still pounding around on the medium tyre, as you can see. Charles Leclerc aiming for an 8th successive front row starts if he can get on pole or alongside it for this weekend, which would equal his best ever run of front row starts. Tsunoda 17th.
Yeah, 118.8464 for Tsunoda. Didn't have a fresh drink, so I took the opportunity and had a bit of food down there as well. Now Verstappen, sector 1 and sector 2 personal best as he comes towards the line. Is it quicker or not for Max Super Max? 1:17.981. He's stuck to those medium tyres since he came out. He wants to do that long data run before putting softs on later on in the session. So watch out for Verstappen to do a bonanza lap at the end. And oh, Hamilton over the turn 10 exit curb. And 100% must have damaged the floor. Had to have damaged the floor. There's no way he couldn't have. There was a little bit of something flying off carbon fibre wise. Lewis. Sainz slowing on the racing line through 4 and 5. I know he's got Hamilton behind him on the slow lap too, but I know you can't really criticise him too much. He's just come out of an appendix operation, but in my opinion, shouldn't be racing. Because I'm worried he's going to do more damage to himself by racing. Let's be fair, 9 times out of 10, it's what happens. And I don't want to see that happen. Now, why isn't this auto updating? That's what I want to know. Oh, here we go. There we go. The information screen now updates. Typical. From the BBC. As Verstappen and Gasly come into the pit lane. Carlos Sainz still out there. Now, is he going to stay out? Yeah, he does. And he'll do another run. They're all doing race simulation preps, if you're wondering why they're out there. But let's take a look at Sainz. Down to turn 1. Hard on the brakes. Down to 5th gear. Now up 6th gear. DRS open. 7th gear. 8th gear. We are over 300 kilometers an hour for the braking zone. Watch how hard he hits the brake. Down to 3rd gear. 113 kilometers an hour. Back on the power through 4, 5 and 6. Manages it through 4th gear. A little bit of 5th. As it now 6th as he comes through. Turns 5. Now watch 6 and 7. He should go down to 6th gear. Flicks the car in. Back on the power. 249 kilometers an hour. And watch it rise with the DRS open. Once again, Sainz is P5 on the running order. 8th gear, 310, 12. 313, 314, 317 kilometers an hour before hitting the brakes, down 2 gears to 6th, back on the power, gently touching the throttle, you can see there, as they attack back through 11 and 12. And this is a great lap from Sainz. Sector 1 is a 26.828, Sector 2 is 17.742. Back on the run. And Sainz towards the line. He's P5 at the moment. Where does he go? And Sainz goes second, a 1:17.707. Very nice lap time. We'd be surprised if Alonso made his announcement on his birthday week this year. No, I don't think. He will go to Mercedes, and that's where he'll be. He'll make it on his birthday week. I think I agree with you there. This is now an emergency situation for Williams. It is. No news yet. I don't think about Albon or anything. I guess you go to an ad break with 22 minutes of the session to go. So I have my red button loading to bring up on everything. In fact, during that red button, we'll swap back to the sit-down camera. 2 cameras located at the moment for this one. As we come into it. Yeah, do you think... Right, I want to know in the chats, what do you think are we going to see here? Are we going to see Williams take a seat away from Sargent to give it to Albon? Is that what we're honestly all thinking could happen? I don't know. It's a really, really strange one. And it's a really, really, I don't want to say confusing, but worrying one if it is true. Forza Ferrari, says Adrian. Yes, Forza Ferrari. Both were big risks, says SHT. Yeah, they are. As you see, Lando Norris on a lap time. We're 18 seconds back from you, just so you know. Oh, and Lando! He has backed off. I was wondering why, because he hit the same curb that Alonso, Albon and Verstappen did. One just crashed and the other one just crashes and the other bins it quite frequently, yeah. I would not like to be James Vowles right now, making these decisions. It would plague me a lot. I don't think I know what to do. I honestly don't. I think I'll just leave it to them to decide. Rock, paper, scissors. Whoever wins gets the car. Tsunoda goes 10th. 118, 188, and this is Lando Norris. So look, I think the drivers may complain about that curb in the drivers' meeting after this F2 qualifying soon. It's too much. It's too much of a danger. Verstappen's got Bottas and Zhou alongside. And Ricciardo behind him. Max warming his tyres up. Has he got out soft chair? Yes, he has. Brand new soft tyres for Max Verstappen. So he's done his medium run. He can get going now on the soft runs. Also, another headache is Albon can drag his car to potentially score at least a point. On the other hand side, and just didn't have the ability to do it. Doesn't have the ability to do it, yeah. You put Albon in the car. But I don't know if the FIA can legally... I don't know if the FIA will allow... If a team has a car and it's assigned to that driver and it's been homologated in the past for that driver, if somebody else these days could just get in and drive it. It's not like the 1950s and 60s. Check the floor, says Tsunoda. So he thinks he's damaged the floor here at Albert Park as well. One of these weird weekends where we just keep going. I think Martin Brundle might be trackside shortly. As they come through once again. 18 minutes and 50 seconds to go. Max Verstappen on a soft tyre run. personal best sectors 1 and 2 as he comes through, trying to come towards the line. 1:17.277 is the time to beat. As he comes into turn 13 and 14, the last 2 corners on this circuit. Gives it the welly. DRS open, 14, 15, 16, 17, and he goes third, 1:17.707 across the board. So he was different a little bit.
Just over 4/10 of his teammate, Karun Chandhok.
Leclerc's time is really looking pretty special, isn't it? I mean, I think you were right in saying it took a few laps to get there, but even so, you were not used to seeing such a big gap. You know, the gap between him and Sainz, 4.5 tenths nearly, and the same to Verstappen. That is a big chunk to see, even in a pre-practice session.
Yeah. I dare say we are used to seeing a gap. It's normally the other way round.
Yeah.
Ted, let's head down to you.
So not a smooth session for Max Verstappen after replacing that broken floor. Now Lewis Hamilton has got some damage to his car as well. He's got a broken cake tin. The cake tin is what we call the brake shroud. It's a carbon fiber shroud that goes around the front wheel hub and the brake caliper and the disc. And it's just picked up a bit of damage. Here you can see the Mercedes mechanics fixing it with some good, honest silver gaffer tape. I told you these cars are kept together with tape, Crofty, and there's your proof.
I don't know about silver gaffer tape, but look, I know it's the silver arrows and all that. One of our very clever engineers has come up with fluorescent orange gaffer tape for this weekend, and I am all for that.
Why?
When I put my notes up on the commentary box wall, it just stands out. It's lovely. You need some back in the studio. This is the sort of colour that keeps you awake at night. Love it.
Very good. Very good.
Valtteri Bottas, star of television commercial,
There he is.
star of the Adelaide Festival. He is the man who Australia has now adopted as the third Aussie on the grid for this weekend, and he's got the mullet to prove it, and he's absolutely loving it. He is one of a number of cars out on the track at the moment, and I'm told it's time to go to Martin Brundle.
Yeah, here we go.
The trouble is, there's not a single car within half a mile of him at the moment, so that's why you've got the long intro, Martin. Nico Hülkenberg is coming your way in about 5, 4, 3, 2-ish, 1-ish. Take it away, Martin Brundle.
There we go.
Indeed. It's a great spot. We found a way to look at the track. It's wall-to-wall fans still over there. Wall-to-wall marshals on the outside of turn 9 here. And wall-to-wall walls, indeed, all the way through. And Max Verstappen came through a little while ago doing what turned out to be the third fastest lap. And the car took a step in the middle. He had to correct quite a big oversteer, the back end sliding. Now, when that happens at speeds like this, you don't think about, right, the car's sliding, I better do this. You're living purely on your instincts. And you can imagine going through here, and as you're sitting on the track, remember, and you're looking at a wall and grandstands, and the track turns almost 90 degrees right, you trust and believe that your aerodynamics will work, and you can just turn the steering wheel and pick up the throttle and head out towards turn 11. So an incredibly fast part of the racetrack, always has been challenging through here. It's key for the cars working at a certain speed, around 250 kilometers per hour, 150 miles an hour if you like, where you need the car underneath you. And if it moves around and catches you by surprise, like we saw with Lewis in turn 1 in free practice 1, you just lose confidence in it, because you have to trust it, you have to believe it. You don't want surprises in corners like this. And I have to say, I have the same feeling.
Sargent's off again, turn 1.
That I had in free practice 1 earlier on. The Red Bull's quick, of course, but it doesn't feel like it's look like it's on rails. Doesn't look absolutely, totally dialed in to this racetrack and happy. Both drivers I've seen all the way through the corners I've spectated at, just having to scoop up a few problems. So I think it really is as tight and competitive at the moment as it looks out there. We've got Sergio Perez going through there, and also the car harvesting battery power through as they're waiting to change direction. There's a point where they're coming out of the throttle to let the car actually turn. and they're on race runs, and they just use even 100 meters to put a little bit of charge in the battery. Max Verstappen coming through there. The energy is fantastic. You can see the roll in the car. You can see the sidewall of the tyre tucking underneath, and just the sheer violence then of the direction change and sort of grip that's going on. Absolutely fantastic place to see a Formula One car and driver hard at work. Back to you, Crofty.
Thank you very much, Martin.
I mean, Max Verstappen.
Max coming across the line. Third at the moment. Goes second, 1:17.658 for Max Verstappen. So second fastest by 0.3 of a second off the pace. So great job then from Charles Leclerc. He's got this opening gambit. Might be the overall, because Max is on softs, but are 5 laps old, but have been in the pit lane. So in total, Max's tyres, I can't tell you. The system's gone dead, so that's always fun. Let's take a look at down to turn 1. I think there's some manoeuvres going on here. And Sargent off again at turn 1. Second off he's done now in this session. Just gets a twitch mid-corner and jumps across the exit of turn 1. It's getting worse. Honestly with you, I am flagging a little bit. I'm looking forward to this end of the session, and then a little break before, about a 20-minute break before we go on for Formula 2's 30-minute session, because I haven't slept now in near enough 24 hours. And I'll get 3 hours, then I have to do a session, then I get a couple more hours, then I have to do a session, then I get a couple more hours. So I'm taking sleep whenever I can get hold of it, is my function today. As Tsunoda turns in through 1 and 2, back on the power nicely, gets it nice, and continues to charge into turn 3. Now first sector for Leclerc is a 26.687. Is it going to be a difference for him on the medium compound tyre? So it's a long race run. So I'm expecting a 28, maybe a 29 first sector. Here he is now. 29, yeah. First sector for Tsunoda is a 29.470. So yeah, exactly what I was thinking for the medium race pace to be around about 2 to 3 seconds off of the fast time. Arguably, medium tyres are the key to win the race. I would start on mediums and then go to hards for the majority of the race. So it's quite an interesting method, because it's a type of track that it allows you to carry that. Remember Albon a couple of years ago? It allows you to carry the tyres a lot longer than you would normally do, and it's a fun circuit to do it with. As Tsunoda into the last corner then. I'm expecting race pace to be around about a 1:25. Across the line, 23, 24. Yeah, Tsunoda, race pace, a 1:25, 1:35. So round about normal then, we're seeing here on the medium compounds, running in the 1 minute 25s. 10 minutes to go of this second session here, as Laurent Mekies watches on. Piastri on the inside, getting in at Hamilton into 9 and 10. Nice move. Outside became inside and slipped through. We didn't see another headache as Albon dragged his car to potentially score at least a point, but on the other hand, Santos doesn't have the ability. We didn't see this kind of situation happen before, I think. No, we haven't. Same exact time for Sainz. How many DNFs do you think we'll have the race here on Sunday? I reckon we're going to have around about 7 DNFs in total. We'll have 13 finishes, I think, to the Australian Grand Prix. We've only filled 53 seconds to Crofty.
But would it not be the other way around, where Alex would keep his own engine? You know, they could put his engine gearbox onto the other chassis, don't they?
No, because No, see, I don't think so, because it's all allocated to the car, isn't it? It's not allocated to the driver. It's allocated to the car, I thought.
No, I don't believe so.
Tim Kravitz, come in on this one. What do you know?
Well, I mean, if we're just talking hypothetical, Crofty, I believe the process would be that Williams would withdraw Logan Sargent from the event and then reconfigure his tub to become the tub that Alex Albon would compete with for the rest of the weekend.
Okay.
With all the allocations being under... That's what I believe, but we should add this as hypothetical. Academic.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with that. I think what would happen is, don't forget, through the season they don't use just the same chassis, right? The teams tend to use 4 or 5 chassis. So effectively they will just say that Logan Sargent's chassis becomes Alex's spare or whatever. So I think Alex will stay with his allocation of power unit components and gearbox components. As Ted said there, they would just withdraw one and put it in with the other.
And according to this I've just received from Adam Cooper, Williams Racing have no spare in Australia. James Vowles has confirmed that if Alexander Albon's car crashed, chassis cannot be repaired, the Thai driver might take over Sargent's car tomorrow, leaving the American on the sidelines. So if you're just waking up, Alexander Albon crashed in practice 1 hard. He's okay, but it looks like Sargent might lose his car because they haven't got a new tub. They haven't got a spare tub. So it's alarming, very alarming for Sargent, who might be forced to sit out a race weekend for nothing he's done wrong. Don't know if that might kill the relationship between the driver and team. It certainly would with me. I wouldn't want anybody doing that. Oh, and off the track goes Leclerc at turn 1 through the grass and gravel. Just got it wrong, as we saw Hamilton do earlier on, and skates across the track. It's getting worse, isn't it? Maxilla says Sargent relegated to the bench. Looks like it, yeah. As Leclerc just snaps mid-corner and off the track, continues on, but through the grass and gravel. SSG says this is also not good for Logan, as he won't be able to prove to his team he'll be able to have another chance in Formula 1. Yeah. I don't know. Why give a car to somebody who's crashed and hasn't just crashed once but crashed twice at the same corner in as many sessions as we've had in this country? It's bizarre. Albon's been the only one with problems all year long anyway. If you had Williams in your fantasy league, change them ahead of tomorrow. Heads up for you there. Feel free to change it over. 5:23 to go. Leclerc's going to stay out there and give it another go on the lap times as well. I don't know how I'm going to do the F2 session. And then I get like 3 hours rest. 2.5 hours max. Hamilton.
Oh, season.
What times are people doing? Leclerc was 22.8 last lap leading time. Yeah, something's wrong.
All 4 of those power.
Yeah, something wrong for Mercedes then. And they are losing a lot of time. Oh, and that's Stroll off at the penultimate corner, turn 13. Continues on into the last corner. But Stroll getting it wrong, out-braking himself and running straight wide. What is happening out there today? It's a weird situation. But yeah, I have a feeling I've completely gone now. After being up since 9 AM yesterday, it's now 6 AM today. That's a long time. Was it 21 hours, something like that? Stroll just locked up, went straight on. Yeah, I need some sleep now. It's starting to got to me, but I've still got F2 until 7 o'clock. I've got another hour to do. In many respects, that's okay, because it gets you through. You've only got 1 more hour to go, but it's a long hour. The Stroll continues on from turn 13. Yeah, and the hour is long. And then I'll get some rest. Some very much. Only a couple of hours though before I'm back from MotoGP and their free practice session. I'll be leading the team on that one. It'll be all systems go from Portimao. MotoGP, free practice 1, gap of a couple of hours, then it's practice, a gap of a longer couple of hours. 2 hours of IndyCar to take you through as well. And then we're all good for the rest of the day. Magnussen pushing hard out there. Race pace, 3.5 seconds off the pace. The mediums are 3.5 seconds a lap off the pace in race run. See, this is the data you find out and you start to look for during the session. And we'll go through it later on. So it's Lauren Meekis on the pit wall.
On this city track, but you know, the guys have been doing a good job. They are going through the programs. Obviously, it's always a trade-off between how much you want to push on Fridays, but you know, so far they've been doing a very good job trying to stick to their programs, and you know, we will do the analysis tonight and try to get the best of what we have tried. As usual, super tight midfield pack, so you know, every small detail will make a difference.
Where do you think your car is strong on this circuit?
You know, we are strong in slow speed corners and a bit weaker in high speed corners. This is a little bit the balance we have seen in race 1 and race 2, and there again in Melbourne, as far as we can see live during this Friday, we see the same thing. So the like of, you know, turn 9, 10, the super high speed stuff, turn 6, turn 9, 10, we are potentially a bit weaker, but on the other side we are strong in some other corner like turn 11 or turn 3, 4, 5. So it's a bit to see what's the fastest way around this lap for us, considering these strengths and these weaknesses.
Laurent, can I ask you to do us a favor here and sort of rewind back to your days when you were wearing an FIA jumper? We're a bit confused about if Williams were to swap chassis and effectively, let's say Albon took over Sargent's chassis, what would happen there? Would he need to take will he take his own engines and components and put it onto Sargent's car, or how would that work potentially in terms of penalties and things?
That's a tricky question you're asking me, Karen, but
hypothetical.
I will guess hypothetical. I will guess that no, you will treat chassis as any other component, and you will probably be able theoretically to do the swap. But really, you are asking questions for the sporting director that knows the regulations a lot better than I do. So don't think that I'm telling you the accurate answer. But I will think you would treat the chassis as any other component there.
Thank you.
Hang on a minute, Laurent. Until you went off doing your garden last year, that's exactly what your job was. You can't have forgotten everything about what happened at Ferrari already.
You know, gardening leave has this beautiful reset effect on our brains, but no, seriously, it's probably a tricky one for them to consider. I haven't been following what their situation. I guess there's an issue with spare chassis or whatever, but you would think you would be able to swap them if you need to.
I'm sure you'll be watching that with interest overnight, because of course Williams very much a rival for RB for this season. Thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you on the pit wall.
We have enough to look we have enough to look in our own garage for now. Thank you.
Lauren Meekis proving he's a funny chap now. He's not Ferrari as well, and a bit more relaxed at Red Bull. So checker flags out. Free practice 2 comes to a close, and well, that wasn't so bad, was it? An hour solo in the comms box. We're going to get used to these. It's just falling asleep that gets the little bit of difficulty, and I need some drink. So yeah, and then we'll be all good for the F2 session, which gets underway in 28 minutes time. Not bad at the moment with Leclerc. 4/10 faster than Verstappen. Verstappen with floor damage and having limited running, losing 20 minutes. Red Bull don't look strong here, do they? That's one takeaway if you're waking up for us here in Australia. Red Bull do not look strong. Ferrari seems to have an advantage, and Max Verstappen can't seem to get his A game in, as the full results have now concluded. Practice starts now. Sky.
Than he had in Jeddah or in Bahrain.
And has a pace advantage on the straights over Verstappen too. In contrast, Lewis Hamilton down in 18th. Mercedes saying that he didn't get his first push laps on the soft tyre in. He lost the best usage of the tyre, and potentially the team has gone the wrong way on setup changes between the sessions. What we often see with Mercedes is a very different car coming back on the Saturday, and more often than not, the much more improved car, more to Hamilton and or his teammate George Russell's liking. Russell did get the push lap in, finished 6th fastest. To see Lewis Hamilton down in 18th at a track like Albert Park in FP2, very unusual, to be fair. Don't forget, 8 poles for the 7-time world champion here in Melbourne. The record at a single track, by the way, 9 held by Lewis Hamilton from Budapest. This is
Budapest. The two cities, Buda and Pest, making together to become Budapest. Mike Zeller says Red Bull in shambles. They absolutely are. And what if Albon cracks Sargent's chassis tomorrow? If that happens, it's weekend over for Williams. Forget that. Japanese Grand Prix coming up soon. The cars are shipped here to Japan. Albon's going to have a new chassis at this rate. See, it doesn't work. It's just problems upon problems upon problems at the moment for Williams, and their season going already a bit worse for wear after a poor weekend in Saudi Arabia. End of the session. Practice starts taking part on the grid, and the first day is done here in Australia. We've got F2 qualifying coming up next, but practice 2's F1 results. Charles Leclerc fastest from Max Verstappen in second. Carlos Sainz finishes third. Lance Stroll from Fernando Alonso the top 5, then it's Russell, Piastri, Perez, Norris, Tsunoda the top 10, Zhou, Ricciardo, Sargent, Bottas, Gasly, Hülkenberg, Ocon, Hamilton, Magnussen and Albon. So an interesting second practice session. More questions than answers have been raised. We'll be back for all the FP3 action tomorrow morning, same time as today's, at 1:15 and 3:45. That's the session times you can join us for. 4:45, sorry, for the action. It's going to be absolutely spectacular running. It's Charles Leclerc who ends the session fastest. Thanks, John, for the nice stream. Well, we've got one more left before I get 3 hours sleep. And then I get a nice 6 hours sleep as well after that. F2 is up next for their qualifying 30-minute session. But from F1, Charles Leclerc's fastest. What will practice 3 bring? Join us tomorrow to find out. Bye for now.